Take a move in the ring. You can hit me with the words you fling.
All right, let's have a look at what Conor McGregor was saying. Bring it up on screen here. Do you think this is tied into all of this? Because, okay, for those who haven't seen it, it happened right in the middle of UFC 250, so I wasn't even aware till afterwards, really. But he tweeted out this: "Hey guys, I've decided to retire from fighting. Thank you all for the amazing memories. What a ride it's been. Here is a picture of myself and my mother in Las Vegas, post one of my world title wins. Pick the home of your dreams, Mags. I love you. Whatever you desire, it's yours." What the hell is he talking about, A? And B, is this, do you think McGregor getting behind Masvidal and Jones, or is it just Conor having fun?
I think it's Conor getting himself into the news, possibly. I mean, to tell you the truth, Conor wants to get paid. He seems to quite like money, as most people do. And to tell you the truth, I do think from his humble beginnings and everything, and the way he went through the company, and the fact that the fight that made him the most money was a boxing match, not even an MMA match, which is the sport he's fantastic at. I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting behind other fighters. I mean, the more top names come out and join the fighters, the more opportunity they have. But then it is Conor McGregor, and I don't think he's retired. I think he still has a fight or two left in him. I think he only wants world title fights right now, but I don't know. What's your opinion, John?
This is the third time I believe he has retired after an event that he wasn't fighting on, which is just like a common theme now. So we don't even believe, or I don't believe anything Conor McGregor is saying. It's almost like maybe he's not even using his Twitter. It's like some cousin or nephew, and they're just writing out what they feel like would be interesting for the MMA masses. Just Conor just trying to like dip his toe back in and make a little ripple effect in the stream. And that's what he did. And everybody's going to retweet it, and give their little opinions. If it's negative or positive, it does not matter to Conor McGregor because he's not reading most of the stuff anyway. So he's just trying to get everybody talking and interested. And that's what Conor can do. And no other fighter can do that. It's just him. Is it getting old? Yes, it's getting old because he's not fighting. But if he was fighting, if he had a fight coming up and this tweet came up and he had a fight like signed up and ready, locked and loaded, and he was in the middle of camp, then it would be something worth, us reading it and listening to it and analyzing it and whatever. But he's sitting at home on the couch in isolation probably because he can't go anywhere and just bored. So he just decides to retire, and then tomorrow morning he's going to unretire and talk about how his negotiations failed for his next fight.
Bored, that's the right word. I think for all of us, we're sick of this, right?
Yeah, definitely. Massive Conor fan. Love it when he fights. Brings more eyes to the sport than anyone else. But it does get a little bit repetitive. But good luck to him in any endeavor. He's done more for the sport than anyone. And he seems to be the only person, really, who's actually been able to bully Dana White into getting what he wants.
Dana White was asked about this at the post-UFC 250 press conference. Let's have a little look. Helen Yee, she's in Vegas. She got a little video of it. We'll have a listen to what Dana said quickly.
So I'll remind everybody that we're in a pandemic. The world is a crazy place right now with all these things that are going on. And, I think that everybody feels this right now. No fans, can't travel the fights around. I think everybody is pissed off, confused, been locked up in their houses for 3.5 months. People are wearing masks. People are, there's protests, there's riots. The list goes on and on. And I don't know. I don't listen. If you don't think that what I'm doing right now is probably the hardest thing that I've ever done, and if you don't think that 3 times a day I throw my fucking hands up and I'm ready to say, you know what, fuck this shit. Believe me, and the amount of people that I have gunning at me right now is insane. It's insane. But here we are. This is our, 5th fight? We pulled off our 5th fight. No other sports are going right now but us. And one of the beautiful things about this sport is
Yeah, so this is Dana's typical response, isn't it, to any time he's asked a difficult question, it seems, in recent weeks about Masvidal, about John Jones, now about Conor McGregor and the fighter pay issue. He just goes to, oh, it's a crazy moment in time and everybody's losing their minds at home. He's not really answered the question, has he?
No.
He's never going to answer the question. He's never going to give you a straight answer because that's part of his business, is to create an illusion. He's a magician, right? He's David Copperfield reborn. He's that's one thing about Masvidal. He said in his interview, he says Dana White is a businessman. And when you're dealing with businessmen, there are different rules. And Dana White throughout the years has transformed into this phenomenal businessman, a cutthroat, dangerous man in the conference rooms or whatever, in the board rooms or whatever you want to, wherever you deal with Dana White, in the back rooms. And Dana White, he's just going to say and focus the energy towards that, how the UFC is doing something that no one else is doing, and continue to promote that aspect of putting on shows. And he's right though. He's telling the truth. You know what I mean? He's putting on shows, giving fighters opportunities to make a living and give people entertainment. And that's why we're talking, and that's why we're doing this podcast, is because there are shows. And if there was no shows, we wouldn't be doing this. We wouldn't be doing a wrap-up show of an event, right? So Dana White, man, it's hard to say. It's just, he's always going to dodge the questions because why? The negotiations are not over. They're continuing, and he's not going to reveal much.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is the thing, though. As Conor, that you said it's the third, fourth time he's retired now. Every other fighter should be doing this. Conor gets paid the most, and that's one of the things he does. Sometimes you have to play your hand. And the biggest hand you can play in this game is to be like, okay, I'll retire, I'll walk away. See how you do without me. And he is one of the few that can do that. But I think a lot of other fighters have started saying, you've got to be more confrontational. Like, you can't let everything get done in the back room. I think actually to come out and say what you're getting paid, I think a lot of fighters need to start actually showing what they are getting paid. I think that's probably a better way to do it, because I feel from there they could work something out with one another, and then you can go, oh, he's getting paid this. And generally when people share pay, it tends to be inflationary, so everyone else's pay goes up.
Well, sorry, Dana White was asked about Masvidal and Jones as well. I've got the quotes here. I'll just read them out. I can't find a video clip of it. But anyway, yeah, he says, here's the thing with Masvidal. We just signed a new deal with him. He's got 7 fights left on his deal. My people were working with him and trying to get a deal done with him when he already has a deal. John Jones has like 7 fights left on his deal. He just signed a new deal less than a year ago. So, guys, you can say whatever you want, but I have a deal. We just did a deal with both guys. This isn't some sort of scenario where they had a new deal 3 years ago. This was months ago. We've been here many times before. This isn't our first rodeo. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Most of the media in this country is going to get laid off in the next several months, and everybody wants more money. Nobody wants to get laid off. Nothing is normal right now, and I'm the only guy that's pulling off sporting events. Yeah, he goes into his spiel again about that stuff. But yeah, some interesting comments there from Dana about Masvidal and Jones. He's not blinking, is he?
No, it's just, we know that. We know that they're 2 of the biggest stars in the UFC. Of course, they're on 7-fight deals or 8-fight deals. That's what a company would do. That's just logical. When you have someone that valuable to you, you're going to lock them up for a long time. And even like back in the day, Anderson Silva signed one of those like 10-fight deals. Conor's probably on one of those deals. And Dana White, he's telling the truth. It's like, you signed a deal, you got to, you signed the contract. You know what I mean? You got to, go forward with the contract. You can't come back a couple months later and want a new contract. That's all true too. But these guys, the fighters, they don't care. They're like, hey, I want more. Like, we got to do a new deal.
Well, as I said earlier, it does just show you, if you're out there and you want to get more money, don't sign big deals. Sign 3 or 4 fight deals. I mean, it's more power to you, more chance to negotiate. I think also the problem is that unlike other sports, really, we get very few trades. We get very few buyouts. I mean, a fighter could always buy out their own contract, but that's a rarity. I mean, the Ben Askren Mighty Mouse, I can't think of any other time we've seen an organization go and buy someone like a Barcelona might go and buy a player from Manchester United. It seems to be very rare. We get very few trades. So that is one of the problems we do have in our sport. And yeah, I would implore every fighter, I mean, no matter how good you are, never sign a big 7-8 year deal, because this sport is only getting bigger and bigger. And what seemed a lot of money in this sport 10 years ago is not comparably as much as it is now. So yeah, I think a lot of fighters need more management, and I say, go get yourself one of those super managers. John Jones' manager is fantastic. Ali Abdelaziz is fantastic, and there's probably more out there that I'm not aware of.
But is there much they can do? Because there's so many fights left on that deal. It's going to be tough to get out of them. It's going to be tough to buy themselves out, or it's going to be tough for any other promotion to buy them out. As we talked last time, there'd have to be some kind of incredible blockbuster trade like Demetrius Johnson and Ben Askren. But who would the UFC trade for to lose Masvidal and John Jones? There's nobody really.
Yeah, and to put that trade in comparison, I think at the time Mighty Mouse had 4 fights or 3 fights left on his contract. Ben Askren had 2 left with 1. So they were both relatively close to the end of their contracts. It's much harder when you've got 7-8 fights left on your contract, and that's the problem.
Imagine being the manager. You just got your fighter a 7-8 fight deal worth probably pretty good money, much more than they were making before. And then less than a year later, your fighter comes and says, hey, you know, if we sign this fight, this title fight, I want to get paid much more than what the contract says. The fight contract that I signed a year ago. You're in the middle of this, and now you got to negotiate with the UFC. Imagine that situation, like being in between a disgruntled fighter that wants more money, and then the machine of the UFC going back and forth, fighting back and forth, negotiating back. It's probably like the closest thing to hell that you could experience, of just people just in your ear, just yelling at you and arguing with you and fighting with you. It's just, man, I feel bad for the manager. You know, there's managers out there that are super managers, great job, good at their jobs and everything like that. But in this situation, man, it's got to be a terrible. You're probably not sleeping at all. Maybe 2 hours a night, just pulling your hair out.